Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch the new spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so you can join up in the squad down in the comments for the first hour after the video post. Alright, so revisiting some more Batch H, or really just Weapon H at this point because he's the last one left. At least that we know of, because you can never be too sure these days. And he's finally meeting up with Laura Kinney, the all-new Wolverine. And we've kind of talked about it before in this playlist because we knew eventually it was bound to happen. And I'll have a link pop up in the annotation, so for anybody who's new here and you need to start from the beginning, just click that and I'll get you all caught up. But just as a refresher for everybody else, so far with this series, which has mainly gone into Weapon X recently, but previously it's crossed over with other issues like Totally Awesome Hulk, and I want to say it started with like a single one-shot as well. But what all of it has really led up to is this guy named Clayton, who's ex-military, ex-Eagle Star mercenary, and he's a guy who turned on his other mercenaries because they were on this real shady mission, which he didn't approve of, so we just got rid of all of those guys. I don't know about you, but if you're picking candidates for a Hulk, I'd have been like, what? No, we're not this guy. I'd have been like, keep going, because that does not sound like stable. Because if he did that to them, what are you gonna do to us? I don't know, to me that's just common sense. But apparently Dr. Alba saw something in this guy that she could control. And so now if you guys remember, while he was on the run, he would make his way to these different cabins, which turned out to be Eagle Star safe houses. And that's really what led the team to this point, because they're following his trajectory, noticing a pattern, and try to catch him ahead of his tracks. But Sabretooth, of course, he don't have the patience for this. So in a real dirty when he's not looking way, he kicks Logan in the back, but instantly when this happens, Logan is defended by Laura Kinney. And that's when we find out that Logan actually called Laura and asked her to meet them there so she could help out. So it's not like he called her to fight for him or anything like that. Logan asked her to join the team so she can help them find Weapon H. And it just so happened that when she got there, Sabretooth was being a jerk. And so now for anybody that's kind of new on the comic scene, or you kind of just know from what your friends tell you, I just want to fill you in that as of right now, Laura Kinney is the Wolverine. It's not X-23 anymore or anything like that. She's actually the Wolverine. And I try to make the clear distinction whenever I do videos on her. So if it's an older video and she's X-23 at that point, I still call her X-23 in that video, just for the sake of separating the time frame. But yeah, she is the Wolverine for right now, and that may change with the way that things are going for Marvel Legacy and classic Wolverine being back on the scene. So he may take that name back, he might start something new, who knows. Personally, I would like OG Logan to take back the Wolverine title, and if anything, Laura Kinney gets another name. Or she could just go by her first name, like Gabrielle or Gabby. And I would more likely see something like that happening versus Wolverine taking on a whole different type of name, like the original Wolverine. Because like these days, it's not like he can just go by Logan anymore either. But we'll see what happens with that soon enough. But I, for whatever reason, just can't get over calling her Laura. Because you reach a point at sometimes where it's just like, okay, how many times you gonna change your name? But either way, once things calm down between her and Sabretooth, Logan and Warpath take the time to kind of fill her in on everything that's been going on. And mainly because when she initially spoke with Logan, he didn't have the time to give her all the single details of what's happening. It was mainly like, here's the gist of it, get over here, and we'll fill you in as we go. And they narrow it down to the cabin that he's currently in further off in the distance. But what we find out is that Dr. Alba, who we knew was working with Stryker and trying to track down Clayton as well, but what we didn't know is that she was a lot closer than Logan and the rest of his team at this point. And so now as far as Dr. Alba and Reverend Stryker, even though they're working together, or she's pretty much working for him, like ever since the beginning, they both had their own motives or plans in mind. And for the most part, Stryker was the one that was more forward, he just wanted a weapon, he wanted to wipe out the mutants. But Dr. Alba considered that whole thing narrow-minded and wanted him to be more than that. Nevertheless, still a weapon, but she doesn't care if he kills mutants or regular people, like she doesn't care. But what she's more focused on at the end of the day is perfecting this weapon that she created and also having this weapon submit to her completely. And initially, we seen when she attempted to do this and the remote didn't work after Weapon H confronted Amadeus Cho, but that was the first time she had a sense that she didn't have control of Weapon H. Before that, she could talk to him and kind of bend him to her will, but as time moves forward, she sees herself slipping further and further away from having that grip of control over him. So when she finally gets to this cabin or the safe house to where he's hiding at, she has other contingency plans of how to gain control over him, but she also takes that time alone with him to assess the situation and see what progress he's made since he broken out. And this is really where she confirms that he has that control that she thought he did in the beginning. And she notices this because the soldiers that he's taken out, their bruises are a lot smaller or they're done with regular hands. So she knows that this didn't happen while he was in Hulk form. But like I was saying about Stryker and Dr. Alba, with both of them having their personal motives, now that Weapon H is created, they're really ready to take each other out. Because as far as Stryker's concerned, she's already done the work, she's succeeded at the Batch H program, and all he needs to do is take this weapon and move forward. And as far as Dr. Alba, it's kind of the same because she's got the funding that she's needed to make this happen, and now that she has Weapon H, she no longer needs Stryker. And while Dr. Alba's in the cabin talking to Stryker, he orders his androids and his cyborgs to go in to apprehend Weapon H and kill Dr. Alba in the process. But she's somewhat aware of this because she knows that he's always listening to the conversation, and that's when we see her take on a different approach of controlling Clayton by what it appears to be whispering something in his ear. And when this happens, we don't hear anything that's said or anything like that. All we know is that Stryker sent in the different androids and the cyborgs in order to apprehend Weapon H and take out Dr. Alba, making it kind of look like an accident. But this time we see that whatever she did, it actually worked. Clayton hulked out into Weapon H and he was fighting at her defense. And really what this did was show Dr. Alba beating Stryker at his own game. Because I really believe that regardless of the history between these two, that because of who they are individually, they were still going to try and do this and double cross each other. But with Dr. Alba in control of Weapon H, she makes the order and she tells him to take out Stryker, and that's it. Like, Hulk smashes and it's crazy. And like, you would think that was the last that you've seen of Stryker, but it's not. Because not even 2 minutes later, like a minute and a half later, Logan's team, who wasn't that far away, they make their way down to the wreckage, and when they get down there, Wolverine, she finds what's left of Stryker. And it's not much, because when she peeps down into the crater that Weapon H punched into the ground, at the bottom she sees Stryker, and right here it's revealed that all along Stryker was a cyborg himself. And so now, even with this shocking revelation, we don't get a whole lot of information to how he got like this, or any detailed flashbacks of how it went down, but rather with him being incapacitated to a point, it makes it easier for Logan and his team to take him in for questioning. And normally you would think that he wouldn't try to give them any answers or try to help them out in any kind of way, and really he doesn't. But rather than help them out of the kindness of his heart, he tells them that the real monster that is out on the loose is Dr. Alba rather than Weapon H. And really under any other circumstances, he wouldn't give them any information to help them out. But because he feels like Dr. Alba is the real threat and Weapon H is nothing more than a tool, he understands that on her journey to making the perfect weapon, that she's willing to kill countless people to test and prove that this weapon works effectively. Because that's the only thing that matters to her. She can care less what Clayton wants or what's going on inside of his head while all of this is happening. She just needs to know that her Weapon H is 100% responsive and effective. And so with her new method of control, what she does is she orders Weapon H to kill this homeless couple in order to test her control and his compliance. And this couple wasn't doing anything to anybody. They were just sitting over there minding their own business. But like I mentioned before, she does not care. But what's awesome at the same time is that he doesn't do it. Because Clay is in there at the same time trying to fight against this control because he has a mission of his own. And until he shakes the control of Dr. Alba, he'll never get to that mission. But right here where he disobeys the direct order, Dr. Alba pretty much realizes that she has to change her technique in order for her influence to sustain its effectiveness. And after he lets that couple go, he turns to her and she has to think quick. So of course she makes him shrink down to regular size, but then it dawns on her that she has to direct him towards the one thing that he hates the most and make him attack that. Because if she can constantly make him focus on the one thing he hates the most, this way he won't hold back even when he's given the most craziest orders. And the way she sees it, if every one of his targets is a visual representation of and physically embodies what he has his visual hatred for, when it's time to execute an order, he won't hold back. And so when she sets this in motion, she gets him in a place populated with a ton of people because she wants to make sure without a shadow of a doubt that this is working. But what she did in order to set this in motion, the thing that she made him visualize is that she made sure that every person that he sees, that their face is her face. Because underneath it all, she knows that he hates her guts. Because at the end of the day, she's the person who did this to him and put his family's life in jeopardy. And as far as Clayton's concerned, he just wants to get her out of the way so he can ensure the safety of his family. And so now at this point, Logan and his crew, they finally catch up with Weapon H. Reason one, because they're the best trackers on the planet and they can find anybody. But reason two is because Stryker droids who were ahead of them initially, they followed Weapon H and they flew into a no-fly zone, causing a plane crash when they got shot down. So that also kind of put up a red flag as well. But when they finally catch up with Weapon H and Laura Kinney is with them, she removes her mask, not approaching him as Wolverine, but just approaching him as a human being. And one of the main reasons that her and Logan share the same approach of trying to help Clayton versus trying to fight him is because they both remember how it felt to be used and to be just a weapon or a tool for somebody else. And initially Laura Kinney opens up to him and she tells him that they did this to her too. But because Alba still has his influence on him, when she tells him this, all he sees is Dr. Alba. And because of that, he pays little to no mind to any of the words that she says, and he immediately goes at her claws first. And so now I'm gonna say this. Now, even though she went at him with her hands down, you know, trying to help or whatever, like there is no way that this could have been avoided. And when he gets her pinned, like the width of his fist is the same size of her shoulders, like shoulder to shoulder. And Domino and Logan come to help out because she's pretty much stuck at this point. But you can tell if Weapon H really wanted to end her, he would have. Like he literally could have. And the same for Domino here. But in this face-off, my props gotta go to Logan because he's the most observant in this instance and he realizes that Weapon H is getting faster. And I don't think it's necessarily to the credit that his powers are changing, but it's more so to the credit that he's getting more comfortable in his transformation. And once again, Logan notices this, and to his credit, between everybody else, he is the one that lasts the longest in hand-to-hand combat with Weapon H to this point. And I guess it's because he kind of learned a thing or two from almost drowning last time, but really the thing that allows him to accomplish this is him paying attention and noticing how Weapon H's fighting style changes as Clayton gets more comfortable in his Hulk form. But as far as paying attention to the detail, earlier Wolverine, she also noticed that she picked up a particular scent coming from Dr. Alba. So every time it seemed like Dr. Alba was whispering in Weapon H's ear to give him another order, Laura was the first to figure out that it was a lot more than that. Because rather than whispering orders into Clayton's ear every now and then, Dr. Alba was actually injecting him with a device that allowed her to give orders at close range every time she made contact with the solution. And that solution she kept within this small device, which had an adamantium needle, and whenever this chemical was released to his brain, he'd be ready to take orders, but it had to be activated by her breath. Which seems pretty clever and secure, but there's a flaw to that. Or actually a couple flaws to that, because one, there's a time limit as far as how long it will last, and two, in order to re-up and give the next order, you have to get really close to him to do it. And what they end up doing with a small stroke of luck is getting Domino to use a blow dart and inject him with that same type of device, which injects him with the solution, resetting his orders. But since Alba's not close enough to give a command, Weapon H is back under his own control. And this really happened like just in the nick of time, because these people was about to get it, like in the worst way. And immediately after they do this, Clay just takes off, because like I mentioned before, his main priority is taking care of his family and ensuring their safety. And that's the next thing he goes to directly after this. And the way that he ensures his family's safety is by going to each and every one of the Eagle Star Corporation's sites and destroys all the servers and hard drives with any information on any of his family members. And Logan follows him just to make sure he's not continuing on a rampage. And when he sees that he actually did what he said he was doing, and he tells Logan, look, now that I'm free, you guys don't have to worry about me causing any trouble, unless you get in my way. And that's really it, man. And at this point, Weapon H is free to do his own thing, but we'll just have to see how long that lasts. But let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think Logan's gonna let this go? Do you think it's gonna be quiet for a while before Weapon H pops up again? Let me know you guys' thoughts. Like always, smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll do it again next time. Alright, later.